Hey guys, welcome to the True Grit Photoshop template tutorial. It's a fairly simple one. It does have one smart layer here with the team text, which shouldn't be a big issue. Just change it once for your full team, never have to touch it again really. Oops, sorry. So this one kind of incorporates all this like grain and kind of gritty texture in it with this kind of blurred lettering. You kind of see this a lot now with some modern graphics, so I just wanted to create an option for sports templates with it. As you see, it's really just kind of some background layers, a top text here, some bottom text, and then there's quite a few like color grading layers added here just to kind of give you just a little more drama with it. But yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to be swapping this guy out with another baseball player from a rival team, but in the meantime, let me just kind of walk you through my layers here. So this top one, you have whole image color grade. So there's some color grades just for the background or for the whole image. This is for the whole image. I'm going to turn that off. You can see. Let's open that up. It's basically just a gradient map, which we'll get into, and then just a black and white if you want. Or you can turn that gradient map on over a black and white and kind of get a little color cast on that black and white. Next is the bottom text. Fairly simple. You have some of the grit and grain layers on that as well. That's just because I like putting my name text layers above the subject. If you notice, the subject does not have any grain on him. So in order to have that grain kind of hit the text as well, I just kind of created a couple small layers here. So if you're moving this around, make sure you just move the entire folder so those layers will go with it. There's also just another little color bar if you wanted to add that to kind of help make that text stand out some more. All right, let's close this down. Then obviously you have the subject. That's pretty self-explanatory. Then you have all these grit and grunge layers. So I just turn them off. So you can go with just a real clean image, which I do have in my sample images if you wanted to kind of see what those do. Let's zoom out. It does clean it up quite a bit. But I created this specifically for the grain, so I don't know. I like it with both though. All right, then you have your top text. So same thing. Let's see. There's a slight outer glow. You can turn that on and kind of see what it does. If you're changing the color, you might want to turn that off or go into the outer glow and change the color of that to match. Then you have your school, the sport, and that's really it. And if you want to turn the blur off, you can do that as well by turning that smart layer off. All right, let's see. Then we have your vignette here. Zoom out a little so you can see it do its thing. Then there's this chain link fence if you want to use that. I have turned on this bevel layer on it just to kind of make it look more real in 3D. Otherwise, it just looks like that. So I turn that on. You can change the color of the fence if you want. Let's turn that back off for now. And then we have just the background stuff. So now we're going to get into just that color cast here. Obviously that's 100%. And I have in here to play with the blend modes. So if you're using this, just get in here. Just play with the different blend modes. Just circle or swipe through them, kind of see what you think. They all do different things depending on the color and the effect you're wanting to go for. Alright, let's turn that off. Same thing, there's a black and white. Sometimes that can affect your blend or color cast as well, as you can see here. So let's play with those. Alright, then we have all the different background elements. So here's just your main clouds. If you don't like the sky, you know what? Grab a picture of the sky, drop it in right here. Extremely simple. Look at the bottom here, I added a tree line if you want that. Stadium lights, I have two of them. I just have one turned on now with a scoreboard over here. turn them all off. Let's see, let's turn these off. There's also a football goalpost here. We have that baseball or softball scoreboard there, and then there is a soccer net. That's really it. Pretty simple. Drag your own in here as well. Only thing I recommend to do is when you drag it in here, just add a blur to it. I intentionally kind of blurred everything in the background just to kind of give it some depth and dimension, and just to kind of go with the blurred effect of the text, just kind of make it all tie in and make sense. Alright, I'm going to turn the tree line on, the scoreboard, and the lights again. That's what I started with. And I'm going to go up here and let's start editing. I'm going to grab my move tool with auto select turned on. I'm going to click him, and the first thing I'm going to do is just drag this guy over, and I'm going to size him up to be about the same, about right there. Whatever, we don't have to get perfect, it's just a tutorial. Alright, I'm going to turn off the background, the sample shot. Alright, for now I'm going to turn off the color grading because I'm going to sample colors from his jersey and I don't want that to affect it. So obviously bottom text, let's start here. So again, you can turn these off or turn one on and the other off, or however you want to do it. I want to keep them both on for now. I want to grab my text tool, just click in here, Command or Control A to select all that. Type in whatever you want. Let's do Chad. Grab the text tool again, click the last name, Command or Control A, Smith. It's a generic name here. Click the check mark or hit enter, and there you have it. Let's go back in here. If you want to change the colors of the text, I'm just keeping it the old school way. There's no color layers or effects or anything. We're just going to change it up here. I'll keep it white for now. We might change it later. Class, he's a 2026 senior. Otherwise, just click in there and change it. Alright, let's turn this text bar on. Might turn it back off later. I'm just going to, I sped through that. I'm just going to double click that layer and go to the color overlay. And then I'm going to click that color swatch, and we're going to let's grab some of this green. Let's get the darker green, not so dark. Yeah, right there's good. We'll say okay. And again, we might turn that off later. Alright, so now let's go ahead and I'll turn this color cast on. I'm going to actually turn it off for now. And watch, this is a Photoshop glitch, and I bet it does it. It does it every time I do a tutorial. It's going to turn it white. Nope, it actually worked this time. So we're going to grab this. Actually, we'll try green. I'm going to start with a dark for the shadows. So how a gradient map works. Your darker color is what's going to map in the darker parts of the image, like the shadows of the image, the darker clouds, the shadows on his face, the darker parts of the trees back here, stuff like that. Then we're going to get the lighter color here. Click that color swatch. I want to click this lighter green. Alright, let's just leave it there for now. And turn it on and see what it's doing. And again, it's very subtle. It's at 20%. If you wanted to crank it up, you can kind of really see what it's doing. Put it on normal. That's what it's doing. So we're putting it on soft light, or you can switch it over to overlay if you want it to be a little more dramatic. And then I'm going to bring that back down. Let's do 30%. Why not? Nice. Obviously, you still have some blue and stuff like that in the sky, and that's fine. It's just giving it a slight color cast. Well, probably not too slight since I upped the opacity. All right, we're going to keep it there. And let's see here. We're going to keep the grunge on, but let me zoom in and show you what that is doing again. If you wanted to turn one off, and that's just the grain. Now if you wanted to kind of do this textured grunge look, like the scratches and the lines, that's what that one's going to do. I like using them both together. The grain is set to 50, the texture set to 40. Get in there and play with the opacities if you want. You can turn that grain down even more. Just make it kind of subtle like that. Let's keep it at 30. Top text. Alright, now let's get into this. I'm going to, again, grab my text tool. I'm going to click into this top one. Actually, I'm just going to change the first word to east, space. Alright. It's still baseball, so we're going to keep it there. Same thing, if you want to change the color, just click in here and just change it up here. You know what? Let's do it. Why not? Let's change it to this orange. Copy. And then I'm going to paste that because I copied it earlier. So I'm going to paste that same orange in here. Great. Now I'm going to, well, that outer glow is off. So now let's do the main team text. Again, this is a smart layer. So I'm going to double click this team layer. It's going to open it up in another document. Click in there with my text. This is the Mustangs. And hit OK, and as you see it's running off, that's okay. Hit C for crop, go up here and make sure it's set to width times height times resolution. And then I'm just going to drag the sides out just a little until it goes just a little past the text. And say OK. I want to get my move tool with auto select on, zoom out just a hair, and I'm just going to make sure that's good and centered. On mine, you'll see that little blue line right down the middle. That means it's centered. And then I'm going to Command or Control S to save that. And as you see, it's saving up here. And I'm going to close it. Now you see it here. All right, now again, Command or Control T. We're going to resize this. Just going to bring it in just a little like that. Grab my move tool. I'm just going to use my arrow keys. I'll move it up. Alright, now I want to grab the sport layer here. And again, I'm just going to use my shift and arrow keys. That's going to move it up quicker. And there we have it. The top text is done. Now, what I like to do is kind of go all the way to the bottom and go to the clouds. Command or Control T. Let me zoom out a little more. And see how it's real wide? You can kind of move those around if you want. Just see what works best with that text at the top. Because that orange is kind of hiding in some of it. Whoops. I'll keep it like right here. Why not? Alright. Let's see what else. I showed you what the background elements were. So really all we have left is, here, let's close this top text folder. This vignette. You can leave it on or off. I'm going to keep it on. Let's turn the fence on just so you can see it. You can keep it just like this kind of silvery, metallic, gray, whatever, rusted old fence. Or we can get in here and get creative with it. You can click on color overlay. We can change it to the green or the orange or something like that if you want. I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep it that color. But you can change the color of that. Or you can just turn it off altogether. So let's go down now. I'm not going to use these layers, I don't think. But if you wanted to, you can kind of change the color of the background again. So, or just a color cast on it. So I'm going to grab this orange. Actually, I don't hate that, but it's a little saturated. Let's saturate it more, and then again get in here with the blending modes and just see what looks the best for you and what you want to do. Don't forget, you can always play with the opacity slider. The multiply looks kind of cool, so you can get in here with that and then just really kind of bring it down. So just add some in the sky there, a little orange. Let's crank it back up, play with some of the different That's just color. Let's see. Vivid. I think I had it on overlay. I think I'm just going to keep it on overlay. And we're just going to bring that back down to about 25. As you can see, it's just adding some of that orange just subtly in the sky. But again, I want to keep it off. Actually, let me turn it back on and show you what it does when you have the black and white turned on also. So let's go back up, turn it up a little more, or actually let's crank it up all the way. We'll turn that black and white off again. See, it just kind of interacts with those colors a little more. If you want, let's turn this off. Go into double click the black and white, and you can click auto, and it'll just kind of play or set it to an auto. Then you can get in here with the blues and really fine tune that black and white how you want it. Alright, I want to redo everything. There we go. Same thing with the black and white on the top, the whole image. Feel free to double click that. This is just what I have set by default. You can go in here. Well, it's not turned on right now, but let's turn it on. You can go in here, and I always click auto first. See, that's what it's doing to the whole image. Obviously my orange text is going away, so if you want that to come back, just grab the red, bring it up, maybe the yellows, bring it up. It's also going to do that to his jersey. The blue skies, you can crank them, make them darker and stuff by grabbing the blues and the cyans and just moving them around. Anyway, I want to turn that back off, but that is pretty much everything. So if you have any questions with any of this, please let me know, and I will do my best to answer you. But I think this is a pretty cool one. You know, it's different. I always try to go against the grain with my designs and do something just a little different. I come from a rock world. I used to photograph, still do a lot of rock bands, do a lot of posters and designs for those guys, and I don't know, I feel like I see a lot of them using these elements, so I kind of wanted to incorporate it over in the sports stuff. So anyway, hope you enjoy it, and let me know if you need me. Thank you.